standing on the border of everything. Listen close. Can you hear the spirits sing lost messages of long ago? Come with me, we'll travel through the trials and tragedy, rest and play. Can you hear the spirits shout, the secrets in their melodies? Dream, explore the mysteries. Breathe, a new life is revealed to me. Once again, we'll start our story anew. Don't be afraid, I'll be with you. I'm here, reaching far across these new frontiers. With my life, fight this fear. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the cold time. Always the new standing here, the way ahead's becoming clear. All across these new frontiers. In my hands, I hold the ones I love. Walk forward through the cold time. Always the new horizons.
All right. Okay. Well, you know what? It's funny when I'm not even there. I think it's more funny when my VTuber model just isn't showing up. That's way more hilarious than anything else. Oh, Jesus. Guess who forgot to set up his iPhone? Guess who forgot to do that? Couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Absolutely could not be me. Mistakes are never made on my part. Everything is always intentional. Everything is always intentional. The Void has eaten his avatar. We're swapping over to a different one. Hold on. Hey, it's him, the guy that does politics and the haha. Starts having problems. A normal one. Oh, right. Right. Like it's normal for me to just have problems on stream all the time. One Zoom. Hey, I said Zoom and Zoom. There we go. There we go. We did our job. We did it, everybody. We successfully managed. We successfully did it. Suris, wake up. It's February. I know, right? I know, right? Progress Only says, before Telltale starts, I wanted to let you know that I appreciate the A/A romantic vid. Really affirming to my friend who can't come out with his to his family about it. Gotcha. Half of your problems are Chad, if I'm being honest. That means, Stoff, that you're part of my problem. You're part of chat, so this is a you issue too, right? Hold on a second. I need to check a thing. I may have made a mistake. Where is my story to IDW? What if Shadow stay dead? Please open up.
So this is gonna Jules the.
You. Beep, beep. There we go. There we go. Had to get all of my shit fixed. Victor Martinez, thank you for the $2. I am the trash man. Also, you're surely the #1 pony. Earlier dropped a $5 super chat. I was wondering what Little Light Studios thinks of Has-Been Hotel. My guess is they think the show's glorifying hell or Satan. Oh, 100% they would. 100% they would. Bonbon says, I really want to go to England this year, but holy shit, I can't find the prices anywhere. Like, I either got to plan the whole trip now already or perish. Jeebus Christ. Trinity Trono says, I'm being crucified by the Pyramid Head. I don't know what I even did to piss him off. He just did. Oh, are you playing Silent Hill 2 right now? Is that what's going on? Give me a second. I need to kill a bunch of things that need to stop living. There we go. Boom. The only prices I can find are from Rotterdam, London, while I have to go to Portsmouth. Are you sure it's not something where, like, you can drop off one area and then, like, take the train elsewhere? Is that not a thing you can do? I don't know. I've never actually went to England. I know they have trains. So the trip is already by train. Oh, you have a train that goes from the Netherlands to London? You fucking lucky ass. Can we get a train that goes from the United States to Europe that I can just hop on? Like, that would be cool. I would like that. Yeah, France to England. So they also have Pup. That's not a bad thing. That's just a bad thing. You had a bad time in Paris? Why'd you have a bad time in Paris, Victor? Why'd you have a bad time in Paris? That sounds awful and awkward. Said the Atlantic Ocean is in the way. Build the train on the ocean. Just build the train on the ocean. Problem solved. Problem solved. What's the worst that could happen? What is the worst thing that could happen? Said an Atlantic train. That's not going to work because of the megalodon. We make artificial islands and reefs all the time. Yep. So the first maritime train disaster. There is some person grabbed my arm trying to sell me something and I had my wallet almost taken in the metro. Oh, Jesus, that sucks. Also, hello, Amy. How's it going? How are you doing? So I watched a video and it made me want to make the phrase rushing down Yog-Sothoth with nothing more than a blicky and a pocket full of dreams a phrase in my vocabulary. What are your thoughts? I mean, if you want to make that a phrase in your vocabulary, that's fine. Just understand that that's a lot of words. If your car is on the ferry, is it really driving, though? Hum gets buffering every 3 seconds, FML. My roleplay is now infested with cat slugs, and now I'm happy. Jesus Christ. I'm chilling after actually using the 6 a.m. motivation this morning. Nice! Well, I'm glad you're able to actually chill now. I wonder how much a boat from the United States to Europe is. What's up with chat on video? It's not working. So chat on video is it's not perfectly synced. It works really well on Twitch, but it doesn't work really well elsewhere. How's it going, Mark? And purple rhymes with orange. Hello. Why have we not seen fan art of those 3 squirrels as a waifu? 3 squirrels? I kind of want to die now. I should probably be doing some work, but I'm not known for my great decision-making. I'm sorry, Sir Derpy Mister. Sorry, I don't know Pokemon. They're Vulpixes. That's Vulpix. Said I recommend going under the Bering Sea Rail. I think it's much closer to joining the Americas to Eurasia than the other way around. Is the screen freezing? I mean, the screen shouldn't be freezing. Screen should be okay. The screen itself should be fine in an ideal world. At least I think. I could be wrong. But I actually wanted to go ahead and get into some of the topics we have planned for the day. Then speaking of waifus, making a waifu out of a kitchen utensil, which one? Well, obviously out of the spoon. The spoon's got to be a waifu. There's no if, ands, or buts. It's got to be a spoon. Just think about it. I said, your fan art is next. Wait, Ivana, no, it's not. I mean, yeah, yours is next. You're right. You're right. You're right. I'm just stupid. I am the dumb. Do do do. Do 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 do. I only know about half a dozen of the Pokemon. Fair, fair. I vote Spatula and Frying Pan being a lesbian waifu. So, but the cast iron skillet, though? D and Amy, do you crave cast iron skillessy? Is that what's going on now? So what I'm hearing is that we need to draw Holchan and her Vulpix priestesses. Eva B says, when did Suris go from Twitch to YouTube? I go onto YouTube on Sundays, and I do Twitch the other days. But Sundays is YouTube time, because a lot of people who used to be able to watch me all the time on YouTube did not want to make the switch to Twitch. And as much as I would prefer them make the switch to Twitch, At the same time, I want to be able to talk to some people who are just exclusively in my YouTube audience, and this is a way to do that. Said nothing sticks to the cast iron skillet. Perfect. Just gotta make sure it's well seasoned. Anyway. The question is, which kitchen appliance is a husbando? Bread knife. Sarah's beat me to that. Case in point, just don't got the time for Twitch commitments. Understandable, old Gus. I hope to Guilty Gear Online and everyone plays Bridget, so now I've got to risk a mirror match or switch main. But Smacko, everybody plays Bridget because Bridget is #1 waifu. Hey, Suris, remember the fact that we don't exist according to a random commenter? Yep, I remember that. I remember that. The Whisk has to have an important role. No clue what, but it has to be involved. No, the Whisk is the non-binary character in this thruple. Well, time to draw the Vulpix Black Hole Cult after I finish working on my announcement stuff. Fair enough. Whisk is freaky. Whisk is a switch! I just found out there's also a car tunnel from Calais to England, and now I just gotta get a car. Disappears into the ethereal plane as I don't exist. Just the fucking, like, I see you don't have a community. I have the most cursed community. Y'all can't be cursed if you don't exist. Ray Taganamashima, hello, how are you doing? Hopefully your day is going well. You've been procrastinating watching Dead and Paranormal Park? Yeah, fair enough. Sometimes we make you wish we didn't exist. Look, there's a lot of decisions I've made in my life, but I think cultivating the audience I have is probably one of the best ones I've ever made. At least it's funny cursed and not offensive cursed. It's offensive to some people, but that's fine. This stream title is an outrage. How's it going, Ocean? How's it going? Now I have to pick between buying a car and spending $200 for traveling for like a week. I mean, how much would a car run you, Bon Bon? How much would that run you? Also, out of curiosity, what should I do for my birthday? Because that's in, like, 4 days, and I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And there's a really stupid thing I wanted to do, but I can't do that for financial reasons. And the person that I mentioned doing it to also told me not to do it because of financial reasons. So, yeah. But Q Dark Heart says my birthday is tomorrow. Oh. Said just do whatever. I just want a proper car, so it's definitely a lot of money. That's understandable, Bon Bon. Drink alcohol and dance on stream for birthday. I don't drink alcohol. Alcohol is just not a thing I'm ever going to touch in any serious way. Believe me, there's a lot of life choices that I would like to force myself to forget. But I'm good. I'm going to Dallas to attend the NHL game my birthday because it's a Pride night there. Nice. There's a butcher in Lakeland that makes amazing spicy sausage. Okay. Use Real Sir as a puppet as a model for like 30 minutes as a joke. I did that one time. Take a ride on a heritage railroad if I had that kind of ability. I was born in 2000s. Yeah, I'm an OO's baby. Oh. You don't drink alcohol? Good on you. I don't either. I wish to, but no. So no, I found a railway that could get me to London in 3.5 hours. Good. So drink water and dance on stream then? Potentially. The Lamer Gamer says, I'm not going to drink ever. I come from 4 consecutive generations of alcoholism. Then good on you. I have an addictive personality, and I have a tendency to unhealthily obsess over things that I should not do. And I have crippling anxiety and pretty decently bad depression that I've gotten a better handle on over the years. But all of that mix means that alcohol, or really any addictive substance, would probably destroy me. And there's really no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Ocean says, doing all right, gonna start recording a video, but wish you luck, chat. I secretly know where this is going. Be careful agreeing with the title. Yeah. Many also don't do alcohol, but that's because I don't do parties or illegal things. Fair, fair. No, I already spent enough time wrestling with my own depression. And then just, yeah. There is no need for me. There is no need for me to do any of that. So Inquisitor Kobold says, what's with the title? Oh, we're going to have fun with that title, actually. We're going to have fun with that title. Don't worry. As a bartender that has an alcoholic dead dad, never let anyone force you to drink. Yep. You know, when people try to force me to just like, hey, drink this, drink more of this, I will just vacate an area. I'll just leave. It's kind of why I'm probably going to drink once on my 21st birthday and then never again. Hey, you do what works for you, Amy. You do what works best for you. So I don't drink often. I don't like the feeling, and I don't want to get used to it because both parents have had or currently have alcohol issues. Gotcha. Hello, Crazy Neko Girl. How are you doing? You don't plan to drink? You've heard it's painful? Eh. I only drink once a year, New Year's after that, never. That's fair, Niji. That is entirely fair. You know, those who are close enough to me, who know all of the stuff that's happened to me behind the scenes in the last, let's say 4 months or so, I think every single one of those people is probably very happy I don't drink. Or secretly, they're very upset I don't drink because I've leaned so heavily on them over the last few months that maybe they wish alcohol was a crutch for me instead. Who knows? Who knows? The enemy says, it's kind of weird that I'm the only one in my family who hasn't tried alcohol, including my 2 younger siblings. Ah. It said, yes, no drinking, please. Okay, thanks. Only Magic the Gathering is venting. You know, Ocean, that works a lot better when you're around to play said Magic the Gathering with. Speaking of which, we have the Pioneer Tournament on Friday that I'm gonna try to win again. I got first place last Friday with Golgari Rock, and I want to play Golgari Rock again and just ruin people. It's gonna be fun. Consider me tentative. I am interested. Fair enough. Did you ever look into a plasma donation center? No, I have not had time. I have not had the time. I've actually never seen Kim Possible Purple, but I have since learned that a character has the same name. Oh, Ice Blossom says Pioneer? Yeah, there's a Pioneer tournament at a card shop that I will not name on Fridays. And I got to go to my first one last Friday, and then I got first place in my first Pioneer tournament because I had been practicing a lot. And it was fun. I was bouncing between playing Selesnya Collected Company Value Engine or playing Golgari Midrange, and I ended up going with Golgari Midrange because I'm a filthy, dirty control player. And turns out stopping a player from assembling a board every game is a really, really, really good thing to do in Magic the Gathering. So there's a game shop around here that does MTG and Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, but I mostly go for the D&D stuff. It's from Audie Lenore. I happen to live in Valdosta. I've never been to Valdosta. Cersei's way of playing Magic the Gathering is dictating whether or not anyone else gets to play Magic the Gathering. Victor Martinez says, what is the worst pain to experience? Loss. Loss. I 100%, hands down, the worst pain you can experience is loss. Because of all of the pains you can possibly experience, it is the one that functionally can never truly go away. You can become numb to it, and you can heal from it by learning to accept it. But once something has been lost, it can never be reclaimed. When you have a person who you love who dies, that hole sits in your chest and it never truly leaves. Even if you find ways of coping with it, you're always going to drift back to that hole. Even when you get numb to it, you'll always drift back to it. No amount of physical pain can amount to the inability to resolve emotional pain. Even if you lose something as small as a relationship and then you start dating that person again, that loss that you experienced first will always be a welt on the relationship that you're in now. And it will always be an uphill battle for you and that other person because of that. You want me to talk about the worst pain possible? I think it is loss. The feeling of having your heart ripped out when a pet dies, or a family member dies, or a person you love leaves you, or you can't go back home again, or anything like that. Those feelings, those emotions, they are permanent, and they do not go away. The only thing you can do is learn how to cope with that loss. But even if you gain something similar from the same person, it's never going to be the same thing you had before. And that new thing you have might be good, better, more wholesome. It doesn't matter. That loss that is there is going to keep hurting. So, apologize for making that get really dark for a minute there. Commander Martin says, I'd say it's worse to have to rip something out of you yourself because someone else is hurting you. Yeah. Yep. So that's content for a short. I don't know if I want that to be a short. If somebody wants to clip that on YouTube and throw it in the Clips channel, I can send it over to Raj for editing. But just arrived and I'm already depressed. But there. Not that those who brought you into the world thought you as a means to an end, or an end to a means. I said, oh, we've just begun. Yep. Terrelin says, thanks, I'm crying now. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm now mourning the loss of my grandpa and great-grandpa. There was a person who was a really good friend to me 2 years ago. And I let somebody who I thought had my best interests at heart sow a rift between me and that person. And that relationship, taking that relationship that I had been cultivating, that we had been cultivating, and throwing it away over the whims of somebody who, again, did not have my best interests at heart. When I did that, that hurt. And it continues to hurt now. And though me and that person have reestablished things and become friends again, and we're working on getting back to where we were 2 years ago, it doesn't change the fact that that happened. That loss is something that I am still experiencing now, and they are still experiencing now. There's a reason I say loss is probably the thing that hurts the most, because it's the thing that can manifest in the most ways. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. And to those of you who do, shut up. Anyways. But that is all private stuff that happened in the background. Not super important for right now. But that's what comes to mind when I think of loss in the immediate. Take me back a few years, and it's the loss of my grandpa, which I did a video about on my channel. Cleaning the room of someone you love that will never come back. Yep. I get it, Suris, but neurological shock hurts pretty hard too. Hey, traumas are many, and we can experience a lot of them. My argument is simply that this is the one that I think has hurt the most. I think the loss hurts most when it's your own fault. I can't, I'll be heading off. See ya, Bonbon. Sleep well. I think this is around the time you sleep. I could be wrong. I have to go. It was nice to pop in a live stream, even if it's an emotional one that hits on a personal level. Fair enough. Depends, I suppose. Immense guilt instead of feeling like you're nothing to anyone in your life. Well, this got darker than I expected in the Suris stream to get. Or at least a different type of dark. Q Dark Art says, I think the worst kind of is, at least in my opinion, losing someone or losing something you've never had. That's happened to me too much, and I despise that feeling. Said loss is weird. I had to cut out a toxic friend in high school almost 6 years later. I still miss them. Loki, you know what's funny? There was a friend of mine when I was in elementary school and just about to graduate and go into middle school. And this friend of mine treated me like garbage. I didn't have that many friends, so anybody that I could find, I grafted myself onto, and I did not know how to properly evaluate when somebody was good and healthy for my life. This person did things to me that most people, when they hear, will wonder why I continued being around this person. And the answer to that is I was a stupid kid. I was a Christian fundamentalist at the time. So if you want to know how fucked up my priorities were, There was an event where this person and his friend decided that as a joke, they were going to throw me on a couch in his house and pull out a shotgun from his dad's room and aim it at me and pull the trigger. Never checked to see if the shotgun was loaded or not, and thank fuck it wasn't loaded. But that was a thing that those two thought was hilarious. They thought it was funny. And lo and behold, the thing that actually severed our friendship was him disparaging the Bible, because I was a Christian at the time. That was the thing that severed our friendship. Not beating me up, not throwing me onto a couch and aiming a gun at me and letting me experience that feeling for the first time as a child. No, none of that. The thing that stuck with me the most was him going after my religion. That's how fucked up my priorities were. And I still miss him. I still miss that person. I still think every now and again, hey, what would happen if this person legitimately walked back into my life again? So I get it, Loki. I really do get it. It is very, very hard to grapple with the fact that my brain still sees that person not in the worst light possible. So I lost YouTubers I loved in the past that turned villains in my book as a fan thing, not a personal thing. The loss was different because you followed someone that made you smile, and that's gone. I can feel that, Trinity. There's Alicia, that's beyond messed up. I'm sorry you went through that. It's a thing that's happened so long ago that I don't feel anything when I think about it anymore. I stopped feeling about that. Brandon Coyle says, I beg to differ. Not all men are trash, sure. Some are trashy men there, but not all of them are bad. Brendan, you will be very surprised at the angle this stream takes when we get into the topics. You'll be very, very surprised where we go. Bolo says, can I ask y'all a question? Yep. Creamy Axolotl says that for me, feeling alone is probably the worst. I can handle loss, but the feeling of being alone, that no one is there for you, makes me have a lot of bad feels. Only recently I've had true friends. Ew. Stop says, I never had a mother or father. Mom was neglectful. Dad wasn't in my life till I was over 18. My dad died to diabetic seizures. Mom is currently cut out of my life. Losing them hurts still, though. That's understandable. Volo says, the abusive friend I mentioned, they were more than willing to get in the way of friendships to get what they wanted out of me or other people. Additionally, as well, learning art from them, they started to shift and overall just be nasty and caring little of my progress. Was I right to let them back in my life? There's still a lot of pain I need to process. Volo, the only thing I can say is people can change. Some of the most toxic people in your life, who are the absolute worst to you, can become better people down the road. It's up to you, not anybody else's judgment, if it's worth it to let somebody back into your life and give them that chance again. Melody Page says, I agree with how bad loss is. When my grandma passed away, I wanted to scream. Sadly, I was still in a messed up state where I thought showing emotions was weakness. Yeah. All I will say is this, Volo. If this friend has shown to you that they have the capacity to be very toxic and very harmful to you, then you owe it to yourself to be hypervigilant of red flags that you see. When you see red flags, take note of them so that they cannot be gaslit away from you in the event that that happens. Protect yourself. There are people I keep around me that might be harmful to me one day. It has happened before, and it will probably happen again. But keeping a note of when certain actions happen and being able to operate without them if things go down south That's the important thing. Never be dependent on other people, but certainly be willing to rely on them if they offer. Latara System says, I will never catch you streaming on here. Good to see you. Awesome. Well, hello, Latara System. Another one for me is the feeling of being excluded, especially by multiple groups of people. Very few things eat at you, like the feeling of no one wanting you to be around. Audie Lenore, can I tell you an experience I had in a previous polyamorous relationship that was incredibly painful and maybe can speak to that? There was a time several years ago where I was in a relationship with 3 other people. I was dating them, and they were all dating each other. It was a complicated situation to explain to people. But when we were dating, there was this incident that happened. My favorite game for the longest time has been League of Legends, and it's been that way for about 10 years, as like one of my favorite games to play with people. This group of partners, apparently I had done something to piss one of them off. I remember one of the things I did to piss them off, it was having a breakdown and crying at night. Because apparently they did not want me to have a breakdown, cry, and turn away from them. Apparently that was considered toxic behavior somehow in this person's warped state of mind. An event happened where I had to take care of something for a family member, and I found out that this group of 3 people I was dating were all going to be playing League of Legends. I loved playing League of Legends, and I wanted to play with them. And then, I wish I had the messages saved still. When I had said, hey, would it be okay if I play with you guys? And I was told, no, we don't want you playing with us. Nobody is happy with you right now. And that feeling of being in the same house with all of these other people and being told that I simply needed to isolate myself away from all of them. It was one of those times that I had a full-on fucking breakdown. And it fucking hurt. And it wasn't the only time something like that happened. And I was told that I was the one who was unhealthy because I needed to be able to operate without always being part of the group, of the relationship. But there's a different kind of pain to all of my partners are hanging out with each other and I've been told I'm excluded. Said they felt you were crowding them? I don't know. I've blocked out a lot of events that happened during that. Now someone says, or in a group situation when your partner engages with everyone else around them, but does so little to acknowledge you for the entire time, whatever's going on. I know that one hurts because I know I've done that to people. Because I remember doing that to other people. So my father gave me hell for my meltdowns because he was afraid of one of my neighbors that lived hundreds of yards away would call the cops on us, and they'd discover his weed growing operation. Jesus. DNA says, to hear that to your face must be so isolating. You don't even know the half of it. But I am several years removed from those incidents, and hopefully I never have to re-experience anything like that ever again, though here recently, I have been experiencing something somewhat similar, but not in the same vein. But I'll be okay. I will be alright. I'm being summoned. We'll have to catch the rerun after midnight. See ya, Purple. See ya. Plot twist, the cops discovered the grow operations anyway when my house burned down and one of the firefighters spotted the weed pipe. Jesus Christ. Tara System says, I'm in a long-distance poly relationship. My husband lives with me, but the other partner lives a couple states away. It's rough because my other partner is working all the time. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Dean Amy says, I'm a lot more familiar with physical isolation myself. I think I can handle physical isolation better than I can handle emotional isolation. I can handle being physically apart from people for weeks, months at a time. What I can't handle is when somebody is not emotionally available and an expectation has been set up that they are. That hurts. That's what I experienced years ago. Traveler Salesman says, I don't get how some of you can literally trust anyone. I don't trust people, but I haven't had almost any of this kind of stuff happen to me. So, Traveler Salesman, for me, the thing that helps is recognizing that there's two ways I can live. There's two ways I can live. I can either live guarded and protect my heart and myself from any bad thing that could possibly happen to it, which will eventually cause me to grow bitter. It will allow me... It will always allow me to exist and function and do what needs to be done to continue what I do, especially here on YouTube and elsewhere. That is something that I can do. I could wall myself off and function that way. Here's the thing. I would rather experience immense pain constantly, but be able to experience the joys of human interaction and relationships than isolate myself. But to experience those things, you have to be able to trust other people. And trusting other people always comes with the risk that they're going to hurt you. But it's okay. I think it's better to trust those people and sometimes get good experiences and good relationships out of it and other times not, versus walling yourself off so you never have those opportunities ever again. Eva B says, I think I got a dip for this stream. Hope it goes well. Fair enough. That's understandable. I just accept that people are going to be people. There's good and bad in each of us. People are going to do what they're going to do, and I can't control them. Yep. But no, as for the reason why I can trust people even after stuff like that happening to me, is because life is happier when you do. Sure, life can also be sadder when you do, but that's the nature of opening up yourself to that. You're going to experience the highs and you're going to experience the lows. We only get to experience life once. I want to experience all the emotions, because that opens me up to experiencing more positive ones. Dean Amy said earlier, my comparison for physical versus emotional has been off since I got kidnapped. What do you mean? What happened? If you don't mind me asking. You brought it up, so I'm assuming it's okay to inquire. It's so hard working on that kind of stuff, being emotionally vulnerable, because I've had to control the emotional situation since I was 6 or 7. So being anything else takes work. I would rather be emotionally vulnerable and open and allow the people around me to experience me as I really am. And just exist that way. I got kidnapped from my parents by the police around my 10th birthday. Oh, Jesus. That sounds horrific. As in life and love, the goal is to open yourself to any and all emotions and hope that most of them will be positive. The comfort is there. If they aren't, you can change things. Yep. Sarah says, I've seen folks become less toxic, especially myself. Sometimes just showing folks that toxic behavior can be changed. That being said, we value ourselves and stay safe. Boundaries, not exclusion. Yep. My grandmother would have kept me out to the possessives. I want to grab me as a child. Travis Hesman says, I didn't want to imply I'm isolating. I forget the word, but socializing is draining, and I'm kind of in homebody in general. That's understandable. I think it's important for people to be able to be happy. It isn't easy catching others, being good and telling them. Practice catching your kids doing tiny good things like, wow, you've hung your jacket up. Yeah. Okay. Rolling through the chat. Now my art is going to be depressed. I'm sorry, XLR. I'm sorry. So there's something I stick to when it comes to partners. If I'm attracted to someone new, I try to give my partners a chance to know them too before I make any decision to act on it. Ah, that's a fair thing to do. There's 2 people that I'm interested in right now, and recently I was able to sit them both down to have a conversation with one another in the same physical space, and that felt good. So can we get to the segment? Oh, this is going to be depressing. We keep trauma dumping. Even the segments are going to be depressing, though. Depressive, wholesome stream. I know, but please. I'm a poly person. I seem to be open and people that understand me. Now, let's give it a bit to not just heel turn off of all this. Yumi says, I'm really glad I had a great day. I got to keep that mood up for this at least. That's fair. And I'm sorry that this began as like a really depressing stream. But we do have some rather depressing topics to talk about today. So I think we're going to go ahead and start getting prepped for this. I think we're going to get started here. let me get fan art section up and ready, and we'll get right into things. Ow, there goes my neck. Both of them. Woo likes. Sirs, that's what I did to my long-distance partner and my husband. We talk on Discord and in games we play together, so it helps to have a way to talk to them both at the same time. Yeah. That's good. Quispy bones. Quispy bones. The bones do be heckin' quispy. Alright, guys. I think it's important we go ahead and get into the first topic today. If you are watching this video, then you'll see the... I'm probably going to title the video the exact same as the stream. So if you see that title, you've probably had an assumption about what this is going to be about. And hopefully we're going to have a decently fun time with this particular topic, though the actual subject matter is not going to be great. So when you hear the term men are trash, what runs through your head? Go ahead and let me know in the comment section or in the chat if you happen to be on the live stream. And we're going to get into the fan art section while y'all do that. But first, beep. The first bit of fan art we have here is from, and Discord is dumb, and it made me lose my place in the fan art because it is made of cheese. Discord is made of bad cheese. So, the very first one here is from Jet. They said, no thoughts, only gem, Suris. I don't know what kind of gem would be preferred, so I made it amber, also an amethyst version of the slime. I like both of these. I do. It doesn't help that I really like Steven Universe. The next one we have here is from Ivana Dragmeyer. Waifu-Eyes the Black Hole? No. Bloodborne-Eyes the Black Hole. Complete with a hunter and Suris' trick weapon hammer that doubles as a sword. So, Ivana, I don't know if you understand, but my sexual awakenings were both the movie Species and the character Rouge the Bat. You didn't make Black Hole Chan less hot. That you didn't make them less hot. So, I mean, there's still a waifu here. So, just so you know. As always, everybody, let me know what you think in the fan art section, not in the comment section below. If you want your fan art to be shown in a future video, the best way to do so is to drop it into the fan art section of the Discord. With that said, hit the like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's go ahead and get into today's topic. Oh, that was... I got my entire chat feeling a type of way. Just feeling an absolute whole type of way. That's hilarious. Way to alienate a majority of your audience. Neo Shadow, I don't think I alienated a majority of my audience at all with that particular statement. I don't think I alienated anybody with that one. I think that most of my audience is just as fucked up as I am. So... I think I'm good. I think I'm fine. Explain some things? But, that all said. Higher percentage. Let's go ahead and talk about what we're talking about today. So I asked a little bit ago, hey, what do you think when I say the statement, men are trash? And I'm going to go through some of the things that were said in live chat in order to see what they think. So, first one here is from Haster King. I'm trash, quick recycle me, which is a joke. Ivana says toxic feminism. Toxic masculinities from Sakura. Creamy the Axolotl says, I think of lesbians. Victor Martinez says, irony. Morningstar Council says, a traumatized person lashing out. Weird Girl says toxic masculinity again. Rick says men treat women like trash at times. Loki the Tired Trickster says stereotypes, exaggeration, and simultaneously toxic masculinity and toxic feminism. Kane Waybright says men that have an Andrew Tate-like complex are trash. Pedro says men are trash equals truth. And the list goes on and on and on. I could go through everything that is said in chat there, but I wanted to go ahead and throw that out so you guys have a basic idea of some of the generalizations, at least that are in my audience, when that statement is said. So around 2018 or so, there was a meme that floated around. You probably remember it. It said, "Kill all men." And we all joked about it. Most of us did. Like, it was just kind of considered like, hey, this is a funny haha. And we also had the beginning of the men are trash conversation happening more and more often. So I think there's been a side effect of this, though. We've began these particular memes as funny haha things, and then slowly, over time, I actually think that we've started to adopt them a lot. There are a handful of people, and I think it's enough of a vocal minority on the left that even in places like Twitter, it may seem like it's more of a majority. There are people that are willing to dismiss men's issues as a result of stuff like this. We say all the time on the left that jokes have meaning. When somebody says a transphobic joke, when somebody says a joke about race, when somebody engages in this type of humor, we always talk about the fact that maybe there's something lurking underneath there. But when we make these jokes about men, that same energy doesn't seem to generally come up. Everybody just kind of smiles and nods and agrees that, yeah, men are trash, men are garbage, men are X, Y, and Z. We don't maintain the exact same energy when it comes to the way we delineate between this thing is just a joke, haha, and that joke can actually cause problems for X, Y, and Z person. There's a trend that I've noticed over the course of the last few years, and that is that masculine men who specifically consider themselves masculine. I'm not saying my descriptive version of a masculine man, but somebody who legitimately would use that term to define themselves, largely don't slide to the left on the political spectrum. Take a person who considers themselves a centrist, and let's say that they legitimately just they fence it. They don't know where they sit on issues. That's it. We're not talking about a hashtag enlightened centrist. Take that person and then ask yourself, if this person describes themselves as a masculine man, and that is the description they are comfortable with, which side of the political spectrum do you expect them to move in the next 2 years? Do you expect them to move further to the left or further to the right? I would expect this person to move further to the right, typically. And my reasoning is this: the right wing has capitalized historically on the idea of capturing masculinity in a bottle and selling it to you. When you think of the figures who are prominent on the left wing, in the politics sphere, we have people like, and this is as far to the left as you're going to get in American politics, unfortunately, but you're going to find people like AOC and Bernie Sanders. Not exactly, quote, pillars of masculinity. The closest you might get is, say, maybe even Vosh. Maybe. Somebody who's willing to actually, ride that particular stereotype into the sunset. But when you think of the right wing, you have a myriad of people that come up to mind. You have Joe Rogan. You have people like Alex Jones that at least think that he's a man's man or a masculine man. You have people like Andrew Tate. You have people who embody this idea, however twisted. You have people who try very hard to embody this idea. And when they do, lo and behold, would-be allies that exist and consider themselves, quote, masculine men or otherwise celebrate masculinity in some way, they end up gravitating towards the Joe Rogans and the Matt Walshes and the Andrew Tates of the world, because these are the people that they see as signifying these values for them. Because for them, the value that they're looking for most is somebody who celebrates this aspect of their identity, their masculinity. Now, if the idea of somebody gravitating towards a content creator who celebrates an aspect of your identity sounds familiar to you, then everybody who is trans and follows PhilosophyTube and ContraPoints for the exact same reason can maybe understand and empathize where I'm going with this. We have a tendency to latch on to creators, for better or worse, who embody certain virtues that we either want to have ourselves or we think are good and prominent. And within the manosphere, however you want to describe that toxic cesspool, the idea of masculinity is a celebrated concept. It is a very celebrated concept. And so people who embody those ideals are people that you'll end up gravitating towards. And then lo and behold, the people who embody those ideas are celebrating that masculinity as well. We don't do a good job of dealing with this on the left. We end up losing people who could be would-be allies over to that side. Now, I know what the counter-argument to that is. There's an obvious counter-argument to there is like, hey, if somebody is so superficial that they are willing to move over to that side simply because the person is an embodiment of masculinity in their eyes, then they weren't a good ally in the first place. But I need you to know, I need you to stop, I need you to quit, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now. You and that mentality right there are the exact reason that you experience shrinkage in your movements. When you are not willing to bring people in, even for those superficial reasons, your movement gets smaller and smaller. And sure, you curate it and you get only the best of the best in your movement. But when we're talking about political movements cannot be small. Small political movements fail because small political movements don't have a voice. This is why allies are always important. You want people on your side who may not necessarily agree with everything you say, who may not necessarily agree with everything you do and are. But you want them on your side, because the alternative is them being on the side of your enemy. The alternative is them being on the side of the Walshes, of the Shapiros, of the Andrew Tates. We have a very bad habit of losing people to this masculine manosphere group because that group affirms them. If your masculinity is something that is so important to you that when somebody is constantly trouncing on it, and I'm not talking about a conversation about toxic masculinity, I'm talking about the literal men are trash, kill all men style conversations. When people see that and experience it, even as jokes, more often than not, that can breed a certain type of sensitivity. How do I know this? I've witnessed it. Where I live in Georgia, that is a common sentiment, and I have seen people and talked with people in my real life, day to day, who listen to people on the right wing instead of people on the left wing because they don't want to hear people shitting on men. They don't want to hear people shitting on masculinity. And they hear that all the time. And it starts to hurt them. And then they start realizing there's a double standard. How many of you follow the Twitter account Ask Aubrey? I'm not saying that Aubrey is a bad person, or the person who runs the account is a bad person. I'm not. But there's an interesting thing that happened. Andrew Tate went to jail, and good, dude deserves to rot in jail. But there's tweets on Aubrey's Twitter, and I think I'll pull up one of them. I'll pull up one of them here real quick, so you can see what I'm talking about, because this will make a lot more sense here. Okay. So if we can agree on the left that body shaming is bad, body shaming is horrible, because even if you're body shaming the right person, even if you're body shaming a good target, your friends and allies that would support you are watching you do that, and they are making judgment calls based on that. So, when a tweet from Ask Aubrey says, this dude is their top G, laugh, 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 and we see this super unflattering picture of Andrew Tate, who has not been able to have his head shaved in a while, has a super receding hairline, has things that people would commonly consider, quote, beta male characteristics. When we see people clowning on that, and I've done it too. When people clown on that, it's funny, it's cathartic, it's great, but then we run into a problem. We've done the same thing that we accuse other people of doing. We're engaging in that same type of body shaming, and now we've created a double standard for ourselves. We have a really bad habit on the left of pretending that there are no bad tactics, there are only bad targets, but that's just not true. Because when you engage in bad tactics like this, again, would-be allies, people who are sitting on the fence, they are willing to move one way or the other for the most superficial of reasons. And again, you need them to move to your side. Because it's better to have those allies fighting for you than swelling the numbers of your enemy. And you can talk about moral purity, and you can talk about how much better it is to not have them in your movement. You can do that as your movement shrinks, and as it gets hurt, and as you find that you are having less and less ability to maintain proper legislation, and as you lose votes in political offices, you can take that moral purity and superiority till the cows come home. But it won't win you any votes. All you're going to be doing is creating enemies that would have been friends. All it takes is a little bit of kindness. All it takes is a little bit of understanding. We don't talk a lot about men's issues on the left. We talk a lot about women's issues on the left, about issues of minorities on the left, about issues of people who definitely 100% matter on the left. But a lot of times we disregard or simply don't talk about the issues of people who exist on the majority. And the reason we give for this is almost always some form of, well, they've had their chance to speak, or, well, they're already represented enough. You know what's happening, right? When we stopped talking to these people, the Joe Rogans started talking to these people. When we stopped talking to these people, when we stopped speaking to the hearts and minds of these types of people, Andrew Tate came along and did. People who exist in the toxic cesspools of the manosphere began recruiting better. And you know what happens when you have things like the slogans "kill all men" and "all men are trash" and shit like that? And then we have funny memeable clips that are thrown up on TikTok and YouTube of, you know, asking a celebrity, "Do you think men are useful?" And they immediately say, "Well, useful for what? What are they useful for?" Do you know what happens when you see that constantly and your friends are the ones retweeting it constantly? The exact same thing that happened when your friend was tweeting out transphobic shit and retweeting transphobic comedians and having a laugh about it, and you decided that you didn't want to be around that person anymore because you were trans and they were hurting you. It's the same thing. The only difference is majority versus minority. That is all that has happened here. The only functional difference is how many people are involved. But guess what? You do need that majority. Otherwise, your movement fails. So maybe we should talk a little more about men's issues here on the left. And I'm not just going to talk about talking about it. We're going to bring up a couple of them right now. I've had pushback on this when I've talked about this in videos before, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. People who are assigned male at birth, we get a shit end of the stick when it comes to finding relationships. It is infinitely easier for people who are assigned female at birth to find relationships statistically, by and large. I don't care if you individually have a hard time finding a date. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about data. it's harder for guys to find dates. And you know what happens when guys are lonely? When guys are lonely, they start falling down these rabbit holes, these emotional rabbit holes. The same thing that happens when everybody else is lonely. And one of those rabbit holes, unfortunately, is the manosphere. And it's a terrible one to fall down, and you can blame the person for falling down the rabbit hole all you want. But throwing that blame on them exclusively is to pretend that you're just morally pure and you've never had anything bad happen to you ever. And this issue extends to a lot of areas. We could talk about how this relates to trans issues, how it's a lot harder sometimes for people who are assigned male at birth to feel like they fit in their own skin if they're trans, and how sometimes it's easier to mask masculine traits than it is to mask feminine traits onto yourself when you've been dealing with things like a receding hairline for multiple years, because that's just a thing that people who are assigned male at birth deal with more often, more frequently. Guitar System, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Our media shows men as sex-obsessed womanizers. We see the idea of the deadbeat dad constantly in media. We get these unrealistic stereotypical portrayals of men in media that get ingrained into our systems. But you know what's funny about the deadbeat dad thing? Somehow the conversation about how hard it is for dads to actually get their children in divorce proceedings gets lost. It gets just swept under the rug a lot. And then when you try to talk about how hard it is for guys to win custody battles for their children, we start hearing about women's issues again. And here's the thing. Talking about men's issues does not mean that women's issues don't matter. And, of course, every gender in between, but we're sticking with these two for this conversation, because especially in legal proceedings, assigned male at birth and assigned female at birth are usually what we're going to be dealing with. When people get dismissive of men's issues because women have issues as well, if we did the same thing, if while talking about women's issues, some guy came up and started talking about men's issues, you would immediately think that the dude's being a fuckwit. The dude's being an asshole. The dude is trying to take your conversation and bend it to his own will. Guess what? This is the same thing that's happened the other way around. Homophobia exists within men more than it does within women by and large. And a lot of that comes down to our views of masculinity. When a person is trying to come out of the closet as gay, it can be very hard if their idea of masculinity does not include gay men. And it can be we can show examples of masculine gay men all we want, but it doesn't change the fact that it becomes that much harder for those people. I already talked about how hard it is for men to find relationships by comparison. It's very, very difficult to deal with the fact that if you talk about women having a roster of potential love interests, and you have to sit on that roster and wait, hopefully, maybe, to be the one that's chosen to be with your prospective partner. And the minute you talk about that, somebody comes up and says, well, what about the double standard between men and women? How men are considered studs when they sleep with multiple women, and women are considered sluts when they sleep with multiple men. Quite frankly, if you're engaging in that conversation and you see that, point out that, hey, when we're having the conversation about women's issues, that's a conversation in box A. When we're having the conversation about men's issues, that's a conversation in box B. Right now, we're talking about the roster problem. And if you've spent any amount of time on certain areas of TikTok, then you probably know about the roster problem. Women who have multiple men on speed dial that they aren't quite dating, but definitely, maybe, potentially, possibly could, but we'll certainly be expected to take them out to eat. I'm not saying this is an issue I've personally dealt with, but it's an issue that I've seen. It's an issue that I've seen a lot. And we sweep it under the rug, and then you know who talks about that issue? You know who speaks on that issue? People like Jordan Peterson, people like Ben Shapiro, people like Matt Walsh, people like Andrew Tate. When those are the only people speaking on that issue, guess what? Guess what the fuck happens? You've lost that lonely guy who is stuck in that roster to the worst people on the fucking internet. Traveler Salesman says, what's the roster problem? So the roster problem is this. Men, by and large, if we find somebody that we like and we want to be with, the likelihood of us jumping at the chance to be with that person is much higher, statistically, across the board. Women, on the other hand, have the ability to pick and choose more often than not. And again, you can... I have to keep on heading this off at the pass. There's going to be somebody in the comment section who says that's not been their particular experience. That's a wonderful anecdote. I don't care. But the concept of a lady with a list or a lady with a roster of people and potential love interests who you are one of, and you just sit there and pray that maybe, just maybe, you'll measure up compared to the other people that are being talked about. Or you might not even know they're there. This causes us to run into a fuck ton of problems. Because then guys spend their time pursuing people who will never end up dating them, more than likely, because they're one of 10, one of 20, one of 30, one of 5 people. Ashley says, where is the evidence to back up your claim? Do you want me to go and survey every single person in Atlanta? And ask how many guys have a group of girls on speed dial for getting dinner with? Versus how many girls have a group of guys on speed dial for getting dinner with? I could do that if you want. You wouldn't like the results. Robot voice goes burr. Said, I want you to cite a study. You want me to pull a study directly out of my butt right now versus the breadth of experience over the last 30 years. Again, this is the pushback thing. This is the pushback thing. This is a thing that is experienced, by and large, by a lot of guys. But here, let's see here. Then why do you need to study to prove there's no reason to be an abusive prick? Yep. You're just one person, though. Like, someone must have studied this, right? Sure. Go ahead. Google a study. Have fun. I'm in the middle of recording a video. I could maybe give you a study in a couple days when I've had a little bit of time. But it's not one that I have sitting at my ready for the course of this video, nor do I owe it to you. But the fact of the matter is, this is a thing that is experienced quite a bit. It is easier for women to get dates than it is for men to get dates. Hold on. Now, whether or not it's easier to find a person you should be in a relationship, that's a different conversation. But there's another issue we run into when it comes to guys. By and large, a lot of us feel disposable. Ashley says, you've always seemed on the right side of things. I'm just so disappointed you'd make red pill claims with zero evidence. What you're saying really makes no sense. So, Ashley, let me ask you a question. Are you saying that it makes no sense that women, by and large, in the dating scene, can find male prospective partners easier, just for dates, not for a long-term relationship, just for dates, than it is for men to find women prospective partners in the dating scene, by and large? What part of this is the I'm not trying to do the red pill thing here. I don't give a shit about that. What I'm saying is, this is a reality that happens as part of the human experience. Maybe because they aren't as picky. I mean, why would women have some special advantage? Why would women have some special advantage? So, a lot of guys, for better or worse, can be fairly superficial. Maybe it is that women are more picky. But here's the thing, the why does not matter, Ashley. Once you start asking about the why, you've accepted that it is a thing that happens in reality. Once you've talked about why is that the case, we're already on the same page that it happens. The reason why does not matter as much, because for the purpose of this conversation, what I am pointing out is that the people who speak on this issue in a way that would be allies to us, to progressives to the left, the people who speak on this issue more in a way that speaks to those men who feel lonely, who feel emotionally vulnerable, the group of people who are speaking to those men more often, most of the time, are not the voices on the left. I'm saying we need to do better about that. I'm saying we need to do better towards those people, those would-be allies. That is my point. My point is not how do we improve the dating scene or how do we break down the dating scene between men and women. No, my point is there are people, for one reason or another, who believe this about the dating scene, and as a result, the people they gravitate to are toxic assholes. So how do we cultivate a space in the left that can prevent those people from gravitating to toxic assholes? That is my point. While I believe it to be the case that women, AFAB people, have it easier in the dating scene than men do, by and large, I also believe 100% that whether that is reality or not does not matter. Because what matters is there is a large swath of the population that believes this, and they make decisions based on that belief. That belief that things are easier for women than they are in men in this one particular area leads them down the road of watching Joe Rogan more, watching Andrew Tate more, watching Matt Walsh more, because these are the people that they think are speaking to them and about them and in favor of them on these issues. And when they start on that rabbit hole, they start listening to the other toxic shit those people are saying. If we had people on the left, by and large, who were known for speaking on these issues, more than just Vosh and Shark, who were known for speaking on these issues in a way that resonated with those people without the pushbacks, in a way that accepted that this is a thing you believe, here's where we go from there. My argument is that we would have more people that would gravitate towards progressivism than regressive right-wing ideology. Unfortunately, the people who are talking about men's issues in these ways, in a way that speaks to these people, come packaged with regressive right-wing ideology. Progressive left-wing conversations and talking points a lot of times do not come hand in hand with these things. And this runs us into our next issue. When you feel disposable, that puts you into a vulnerable pit. That puts you into an awful fucking mind state. And by and large, a lot of guys, they feel disposable. It's not just because of the roster issue. Did also Xander Hall exist, by the way? I know Xan exists. I'm friends with Xan. When you start talking about the fact that every year thousands of men die in coal mines, in sewers, and railroads, working on satellite towers, and other dangerous workplaces, that conversation gets kind of skirted under the rug a lot. Ash says, I'm sorry you've had bad experiences. You can't use anecdotes to make a larger point, though. Ashley, I've not said anything about my experiences, though. Not once have I said anything about my experiences. These are the experiences of multiple people that I have talked to about these issues. These are the experiences of multiple people who have talked about these issues themselves, and more importantly, these are the ways that the people that you do not want taking the people from your movement are talking about these issues. And when you ignore that, that's when you lose. When you ignore the way that your enemy is recruiting your friends, you fail to find a way to combat it. So you actually did rewind and check the tape, friend? Well, cool, I'll do that in the middle of my recording somehow. But I've made my point. Said there's no crisis of masculinity. It's right-wing propaganda that's resonating with lonely men is all. I think there's probably just as many as lonely women. So you admit that it is resonating with them. You admit that it's resonating with them then. Cool. That's all that matters. That's my point, Ashley. That's my point. My point 100% is that this is language that is resonating with them. It works as a recruitment technique, Ashley. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying we do a poor job of countering it, because just going, actually, no, this is all wrong, it doesn't work all the time. It doesn't even work enough of the time. Whether or not there is a, quote, crisis of masculinity doesn't matter. The fact is, there is enough people who believe there is a crisis of masculinity that are willing to start listening primarily to the Jordan Petersons of the world. Our job is to find out how to take those people and prevent them from falling further down the right-wing pipeline. At least more of them than not. That is our problem. And the fact that I'm having this argument with you right now in the middle of this video exemplifies that problem to a T. So you even brought up this type of rebuttal earlier in the discussion? I did. By and large, if we want to see fewer people who fall into the rhetoric of some of the most terrible actors on the internet, then we need to find a way to not only show them that the issues that they're talking, we've found a problem. We found a problem. The problem is that there are actors on the internet that are speaking to people. The tactic that we have classically used is to tell people that the thing they're talking about isn't real and isn't a problem and isn't a thing that they should be worried about. That tactic, I believe, does not work all the time because I have seen multiple instances of its failure. These are personal anecdotes, true, 100%. But it's not just boomers who are running into this. It's not just older people who will eventually die out. These spaces affirm people who think that masculinity is such a great thing to be celebrated. And I'm not talking about toxic masculinity. I'm not talking about the tendency for men to feel like their emotions need to be stunted for people, though that's an issue as well that we need to talk about. I'm talking about people who love sports and think that sports are some celebration of masculinity, who love construction and military things and think that these are celebrations of masculinity. These people have a set of values that is not necessarily incongruent with progressivism. But by not speaking to these people, they will end up listening to the people who are speaking to that. And when they listen to those people, their ideology will change to one that is no longer progressive. If you've ever seen a loved one fall down the right-wing pipeline, if it was a guy who considered themselves masculine in some way, shape, or form, talk with them and ask them what issues were spoken on that convinced them, that led them down that road. If you want to figure out how you stop recruitment for right-wing pundits, you talk to people who have been recruited by right-wing pundits. You speak to people that it happened to. Do you want to see femininity turn into something that is positive, that is not just the trad wife doctrine? You focus on feminism. You want to see masculinity turn into something that is not toxic masculinity? Then you focus on that. There may not be a specific word for it because the men's rights activism movement has been completely and totally populated by people who are the worst shit stains on the face of the planet. However, there are some things that are spoken on in those circles that are true and we need to handle. He just says it's always dog whistles as far as I've seen. Depends on the dog whistle. Said case in point, homophobes who were fine with gay people until gay people wanted to get married. Or homophobes that are fine with gay people as long as gay people don't go outside and they have to see, or their kids have to see them holding hands. I'll conclude this by simply saying we do not do a good enough job. People who see sports as a lens of culture and masculinity, people who have the awkward ideal in their head that strength is the only thing that matters. People who worry about how boys are being raised to be this, that, or the other thing. Those people are not talked to enough on our side. We can do better about that. We should do better about that. And I'm going to be trying to do better about that. And there's going to be a lot of people on my channel who are probably not happy about that. And that's fine. If I let every viewer on my channel dictate my opinions, they wouldn't be mine anymore. Beat Blaster says, I can speak on this issue. Used to be a huge right-wing asshole because I was lonely, angry, and wanted to lash out at other people. Looking through bits of the chat here. Dead Inside says, by ignoring men's issues, you handed the worst people a group of emotionally vulnerable people that will believe their every word. Think of it this way. Think of it this way. Let's say you've had a breakup. Let's say you've had a breakup, and somebody incredibly toxic comes your way. But they're sexy, and they are somebody that is willing to spend every waking moment taking care of you, affirming you, letting you know that you matter, your opinions matter, and you're just very special to them. Let's say that the thing that broke up your last relationship was not being heard, not being spoken to. This person may be a manipulator that you're going to. This person may be the worst asshole in the world. They may hurt you. But the fact that they're speaking to those vulnerabilities, those open wounds that you have, that's going to make them very, very attractive. That's very, very dangerous. That's what happens in right-wing punditry. Take the person who is seeing the hashtag kill all men, who is seeing the slogans that are being used, who is seeing the mentality that comes from that, the conversation about all men being either useless or most men being rapists or shit like that. Especially if they're seeing that through the lens of people like Isaac Butterfield. When they're seeing that, they're getting not only a distorted version of reality, but they're getting a version of reality that includes people who they should be allies with being their enemies. And then they end up sliding with that toxic, abusive person that is willing to use them for their own gains, but they're willing to affirm them, and they're willing to make them feel special. Said, you're describing indoctrination. Decoy sheep, I am exactly describing indoctrination. Making you feel special, love bombing you, letting you know that everything's going to be okay now because you're over here, and don't worry, the entire world is wrong. You're the one who's been seeing things right the whole time. It's a really effective indoctrination technique. And you can bet your ass it is a technique that people like Andrew Tate take full advantage of. You want fewer people falling for that? Get better at bulwarking people from it now. The only way to do that is to get better at your own rhetoric. So it reminds me of my altercation with the Hubbard fans to say. I said, look, there isn't much we can do about people who refuse to get therapy. We solve nothing by changing our priorities on the left for people who... Oh, the message got deleted as I was reading it. But I think I kind of caught the gist of it. So, here's my pushback on that. Nobody is saying change priorities on the left. Nobody is saying deprioritize trans people and deprioritize people who are in social minorities, or deprioritize conversations about people who need to get health care, or deprioritize conversations about unions. Nobody, at least not me, is saying deprioritize those things. I'm not saying shift priorities. I'm saying add one more. And I think by adding one more, we can prevent a lot of loss. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. Yeah, that began to sound pretty brain dead after I posted it. You're fine, Traveler Salesman. You're fine. But it did let me articulate a point that I wasn't quite getting to. I'm not saying shift priorities from people who are vulnerable so that you can focus on people who largely aren't as vulnerable but just feel more vulnerable and are then getting spoken to who desperately need therapy. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that those people should be included in the conversation. Better than we have been. Because if we had been doing better at that conversation, then we wouldn't see Andrew Tate's numbers be what they are. That's what I'm saying. But with that said, I've probably pissed off everybody in my audience and alienated at least half of them. So let me know what you think in the comments section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully this particular arc won't end in everything burning. Insert end of video tagline here. Said, not mad. I think we said it was well informed. Suris, hey, is the robot voice back? I don't know what the robot voice is. Wait, you mean the one for, like, large donos? I said, to be honest, it's refreshing to hear somebody who's in a red pill saying this. Again, that's my problem. My problem is that I think that most of the time it's the people who consider themselves red-pilled who are always the ones speaking on these issues. And when they do that, when they are those people, Ray, do not. Yeah, cutting off a group of people and expecting them to support you through everything doesn't work. So that was a long, awkward video. It was. My issue is we have a very, very awkward tendency. We have a very awkward tendency of doing the whole, like, hey, it's this person's turn to speak now, which is a very quick way of making it seem like you'll never let people who exist in the majority do their shit ever again. So this is why I trust Shark Zero Vosh and Dan, because they do well talking about men's issues and women's issues in equal time of different videos they've created. Yay. You're fine, Sarah's no hate here. Much love for you. Said you're on a roll, started at making people depressed, and then ended it with making people angry. Yep. My streams are an emotional roller coaster, and I would not have them any other way. Up and down, then all around. So my suspicion about the ratio of men and women on the dating scene is because a lot more women have checked out of the dating scene entirely. And that could be a case. There is a phenomenon where a lot of dating sites, when they're starting out, are populated mostly by men, and a lot of the women that are on the sites are actually robots. This is actually a thing that I saw on... What was the site? Was it Meet Me? I think it was Meet Me. That was like 90% bots, 95% bots. Do you follow trans girl therapists at all? I do not. Curious how our discussion on Lost earlier kind of weaved into this. It kind of did. Is it a goopy gamer moment? Melody says, I wouldn't say that men are trash any more than I would say women are trash. Individual people, now those people I call trash. People like Peterson, Rowling, Caitlyn Jenner all get that badge. Yeah, no. The reason that I titled this stream what I did was because I knew that I was going to be talking about these issues on the stream. And I knew that when I talked about these issues, I wanted to get everybody already thinking of what their biases were in this conversation. And moreover, I wanted those biases to come out. I started this stream expecting conflict, and conflict is what I got. I'm very proud. Because this actually means something. And I don't know if Ashley is still in the chat. I don't know if she is. Or I'm assuming she. I could actually be wrong there. I do not know Ashley's pronouns. But whether or not they're still in the chat, I would rather have an audience of people watching me that will challenge me on things I say, that will fight with me when I say something that they don't like. I would rather have those people that are willing to give me pushback than people who are simply nodding at the things I say all the time. Renee Demir says, honestly, I was thrilled to catch this live, and it's a good conversation to have, and one that every time they get brought up, people who mention it get called red-pilled regardless of if it's true. Yep. Coin Silver says, I'm too ace to date. Everyone expects more than companionships. Lol. Dead Inside, this is a very close topic to me. I fell down the Red Hill rabbit hole when I was alone and vulnerable, and I've seen what you're talking about in real time. I've seen it too. And that's my problem. This is why I try to point out that to those of you who are in a safe position to do so, get better at being friends with people who are not necessarily politically aligned with you. You'll figure out the things that speak to them better when you do that. The society tells me to bust my ass for a pocket pussy and a one-bedroom apartment. Yep. Definitely gonna have to watch this later. I think I missed an interesting topic. Potentially. How can we talk about men's issues more than red pill people who exclusively talk about it? So here's the thing. They don't actually exclusively talk about it. But we do get the lens that they exclusively talk about it. Because if we're watching mostly left-wing content, we see a lot of the dunks on these people. And when we see those dunks on these people, we get a coloration of their content that might not necessarily be entirely accurate. Not that the things they're saying aren't true, like true representations of what they're thinking, but there's other things they're talking about that we don't actually see or hear. What I've found, personally, is that every content creator speaks on a variety of issues, and then there tends to be the big thing that colors everything they do. Think about a hardcore Marxist, and they use a Marxist lens to view any media that they watch. You may watch them reviewing 15 movies, and Marxism will come up at some point in the conversation, but you're still watching different content than that. On the left, minority issues. Not issues that are small, but issues that affect minorities. That is usually the thing that happens here. We talk about issues that affect people who are trying to unionize. We talk about issues that are affecting people who are trans, people who are black, people who are immigrants. We talk about these issues a lot, and it colors the way that we go about making content. Decoy Sheep says, I don't think it's an issue of finding out what appeals to them. More understanding a majority of peeps are not thinking about it. So if you're immediately confrontational, they're going to be defensive. Well, that's why the best way to have that conversation, personally, let's say that you have a friend who really likes watching Ben Shapiro. They love his content, okay? So you sit down to a conversation with that friend and you don't go like, hey, I want to talk to you about this person you watch. You go, hey, what do you like about Ben Shapiro? What do you like about it? Just let them gush about their favorite content creator for a little bit. And what you'll find in that conversation is you'll find that there's a specific set of things that Shapiro speaks on, or a specific way that he speaks that the person likes. A lot of times, they'll like a person's humor. Let's say that they really like the edgy humor of somebody, and that edgy humor is what's making them feel more and more like they're willing to be in that space, because they want to have edgy humor too. They may have grown up on South Park or something, but they don't like going to, say, like a Thought Slime stream where everything is more politically correct and not quite as edgy. Things are softer there, and that's not what they're there for. But if you introduce them to somebody like Vosh, suddenly, they're going to actually find all the things that they want in a content creator, but they're not going to find the same ideology that exists on Ben Shapiro. Don't grill somebody on the people that they like. Just ask them, hey, what do you like about this person? Not why do you like them, what do you like about their content? Because if you ask me that about any content creator, I can tell you what I like about a person's content. I will always be able to tell you what I like about a person's content. Ray says, what if they say the fact that they're literally against minority groups? Then you have another part of the conversation, which is the follow-up. What issue is there with minority groups? I wasn't aware. Don't go, what problem do you have with minority groups? Because that starts a confrontation. Your goal is information gathering. Your goal is to figure out why somebody slipped. Confrontation doesn't get you there. But genuine interest can. Star-Lord says, tornadoes in my area. See you next stream. See you, Star-Lord. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat. Please stay safe. Why are you grabbing your credit card when you should be taking shelter? Hey, everybody's different. Everybody's different. So, when you have that conversation, and that person says that, okay, I like that he talks about the minorities, and he's good about speaking about minorities in a way that I agree with. What things do you agree with that he says about minorities? Do you Like, I didn't realize there was an issue. Could you maybe explain that further? There's two ways this conversation goes. Either they parrot the things that the person says, or they say, it comes better from him, watch this video. Either of these situations creates an opportunity for you to then find out the specific belief that is there, why it's there, and formulate a counter-argument. But when you formulate a counter-argument, you don't just throw the counter-argument at them and go, you don't go, you're wrong because this. Because, again, that creates a backfire effect. You go, hey, is there anything that you think might change your mind about this? Is there maybe something that you think you're missing? Throw the ball in their court. Get them to figure out what it is that they're scratching their head over on this issue. Get them to tell you, to articulate to you what's going on. The longer the ball's in their court, the longer they'll be willing to play the game. Ray says, usually when I'm faced with that, they just parrot the, you just, never mind, you damn mind reader. It's almost like I've been in this scenario before. It's almost like I've done this before. So, when you've reached that point where they're willing to articulate their problems with minority groups, if they are willing to, or if they say, well, Ben Shapiro says this, okay, why do you agree with that? Why do you believe that? Why do you believe the thing that the person is saying? So yeah, talking to writers is like a strategy game. It can be. It can be. The line you have to walk is remembering that if this person is your friend, if this person is genuinely your friend, they're not a... What's the best way to put this? They're not a guinea pig for you to experiment on. And if you make somebody feel like a guinea pig that you're experimenting on, then you're going to create the backfire effect anyway. And you're going to end up hurting a real person in the process. So be careful if you do this. When you do this, there are ways that it can turn south. Russo Glassmatter says, I'm trying to be more willing to listen, even when people say things that tend to demonstrate their gigantic asses. I don't have any rightoid friends, just people I have to talk to at work. Fair enough. Who's my friend and why can't I subject them to tests? That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Suggest similar things they may be interested in that isn't toxic. Ray says, yo, what is this song? Good question. It's on a compilation. Favorite affirming line, I see you feel very strong about this topic. I'd love to hear more. Yeah, no, that's an excellent thing to do. That is an excellent way to go about that conversation. Hey, this seems to be something you feel really strongly about. Could you maybe elaborate? Could you let me know why? Making somebody feel that they are important in that conversation is going to do 1,000 times more for you than not. So I'm listening to Arknight's background music. I refuse to play Arknights. I spent way too much time in other gacha games. So... Ray says, stop moving. Why do you need me to stop moving? I'm literally always moving. What? What? I did show my dad the YouTube channel Not Just Bikes, and he was intrigued. I still suck at debating with my dad, though. I love Not Just Bikes. I love it. My eyes are tracking those. Tracking what? Nani? Titty. Oh. Oh. It is about boobs. Is it about boobs? Why is it about boobs? Why are we talking about boobs now? The Bazonka Donkers. God damn it. I've never heard of Not Just Bikes. What is it? Not Just Bikes is a channel that goes over walkable cities and infrastructure and how to better accommodate people having social experiences with one another. Boobs are pretty awesome, except how they make my back feel. You know, it's the minute that somebody starts talking about back issues that you learn the size of their booba. The minute somebody starts talking about back issues, you go, oh. Oh. I understand now. You said, well, this conversation just took a turn. Yeah. Your avatar has purple boobs. Is that healthy? Yes. My back hurts, but I don't have booba. The human back is just a travesty. It is. I have back issues with no chest to speak of. It's just that I'm about 7 feet tall. Yeah, that would cause it. Hey, Suris, how you doing tonight? I'm doing okay. I had a fun time literally fighting with people in chat earlier. I had a large-breasted friend and they wore special bras. Well, crap, I'm not going to complain about my back pain no more. Good timing, I prefer small booba. Or good thing, I prefer small booba. Wish I could find special bras for my booba. Fucking hell. My back is not good for 55 pounds of booba. Jesus, Taurus, are you okay? Those things are just weapons used to taste chat. That sounds like hyperbole, I hope, for their sake. Trust me, if I could donate booba, I would. I have scoliosis in the lumbar spine, so yeah, back problems happen. Ooh, a milk donation? No, we're not doing a milk dono. Just got in. What are we talking about? We were talking about booba. Lots and lots of booba, because I don't know. I said, fun fact, laying on the floor sometimes kind of helps with back pain. Oh, that always hurts my back. Hell, I can't run because I knocked my own self out. Jesus fucking Christ. Hello, anyone want a cat or four? I don't know if I would trust anybody in chat with one of the cats. Booba pain will fuck the pain away. My bed is in ruins. Oh my god. I thought top surgery would fix my back pain. It did not. In fact, top surgery, my back pain has gotten a lot worse. Ouch. I'm allergic to kitties. I am too! I own nothing but a red fennel fox. Just me asking, why are we here today? So every Sunday, the stream will be held on YouTube instead of on Twitch, because I want the ability to engage with my YouTube audience as much as I engage with my Twitch audience. How's your antihistamine supply? I have loratadine and centrazine, and I have a lot of them. Cats are superior to people. I disagree. I disagree. Some Twitch people pull double duty like me. Yeah. It's a great idea. I miss most of the Twitch stuff myself. Yeah. That's fair. Actually, Jeff, question, since I'm thinking about it. You said you're up till what, 5? You're going to bed at 5? Miss my foster kids. Yeah. How far are you from me? Like, what's the drive to where I am for you? Without saying specific cities, because, again, doxing is bad. Dean Amy says, imagine being from Twitch crazy. Amy, reminds me, not only from Twitch, but also from a good mutual friend stream, we need to actually, like, talk some. Because we don't do that, and we should, considering our mutual. But I think the only interaction we have is on streams. He said, I'm from Twitch, and yes, crazy. XLR Gaming says, why not podcast? What do you mean? I'm up for whenever you'd want to. Yeah. Hop, skip, and a jump to my TV. That's how far. Oh, my God. 30 or 40 minutes. Is there a 24-hour food-wise, Jeff? Is there anything other than Waffle House and IHOP between us? Or is it just Waffle House and IHOP? I know on Twitch search is unable to say my name right. I'm sorry. Get a podcast, acquire gold advertising. Not sure. Gotcha. Hugh Darkheart says, and then there's me. I've been here since before Suris started streaming. It's true. I'll add you on Discord. That's where I do most of my chatting. Gotcha. Add me. Let me... Hold on. Can I just... Beep. And beep. And boop. There we go. Russo Glassbitter says, Suris, you're a wonderful person. I appreciate you. Like, a lot. Thank you for what you do. You are awesome. Well, thank you, Russo. Thank you very much for the $4.99 super chat, and I appreciate it. And then decided I've been with Suris for a long while. Speaking of gold, I'm allergic to fool's gold. Ouch! You know, that's actually a great idea. You should start a podcast where you talk about, I don't know, video games or something. Dr. Mario? RxJ the Punk, can I introduce you to a podcast called Sunset City that is held every Friday over on the Sunset City channel on YouTube? There is an RSS feed as well if you would like to go on to multiple podcasting services and find us there. But there's a podcast that is had every Friday that includes me, Game Apologist, Channel Pup, Gilly the Kid, and Wayne is Boss. And we talk about Sonic the fucking Hedgehog. Every Friday. And I somehow don't want to throw the fucking hedgehog in a blender yet. I've heard about that. Isn't that about bees, though? Channel Pup, my adopted child. I miss him. I'm gonna go see Pup here in about a month, actually. When me and Nova go up to PAX, I'll actually be hanging out with Nick and Gilly and Channel Pup. What's the stream title, though? Oh, it was the topic we went over earlier. Did I miss them all? No, I've actually got a couple more. I got a couple more. We're bouncing subjects a lot. Let's see here. What would be best? What would be best? Disappointed in my mom by removing the wires from my bras. Jesus. I'm the right wingers. I'm a breast and thigh guy myself. I said, who the heck designed bra wires? I don't know. Oh my fucking god. Ray. Ray. Why are you looking down? No, because I see what you sent me on PayPal, and I know why. You fucknut. Thank you, though. I really do appreciate it. Define for Nova. Like for our trip when we go up to PAX? Because Nova has his own like ability to be tipped because he is also an streamer. PAX / taking care of the floofy boy. So basically this money must be used by me to take care of Nova during the PAX trip. Kitsune Cavalier says, wait, PAX East? Yeah, I'm going to be at PAX East. Yes, okay. Then that is what that will be used for. If he complains about me buying him dinner or something at some point, I'll just be like, nope, chat said I had to. That's what'll happen there. Inquisitor Cabal says, I'm excited for PAX East. I am well. Kitsune Cavalier says, you're coming up to where I live. Ah. Take care of Nova. Thanks for the fan art idea. My God. Food is one of his favorite gifts, of course. Like when I got him McDonald's because he wanted burger. Drop Brass says, why do you think men are trash? Drop Bass, you actually missed the entire conversation about that. Let me go ahead and pull the rug off the eyes of anybody who's coming into the chat now. The name of the stream is specifically to elicit people's biases on one way or the other of the, quote, men are trash topic / debate / whatever. So that I could then have fun with that topic myself. Unwool my eyes. Wait, where is PAX? It's up in Boston. I got hip hop holler at me in a few. Gotcha. Gotcha. I'll send you a text. Hold up. Hold up. West Coast cons are like insane if you know about ALA 2012, literally lit. Gotcha. Suris, do you have a Thrones Gifts account yet? It's really handy for random, whatever you feel like it's okay for gifting you. Taurus, I do actually have a Throne account. If you check on my Twitch page, you can hit the !Throne command, and that will actually give you the link to my Throne account. I need to update it, but I do have it. Wish there were cons closer to me. I miss going to cons. That's comics/furrycon. Gotcha. Sarah stares at his own titties. That's when I look at my phone. When I look at my phone, it just is boop. Boop. I'm saying the subject talking to men. I feel some people's frustrations. When you are not accepted, you get to hear the worst. But we have to treat these people with kid gloves. It seems insulting, to be honest. So here's the thing. You have to use whatever tactic is efficient. You have to use whatever tactic is functional. You may feel a type of way about having to speak with somebody in a way that is more soft than what you would prefer, but much like when somebody has, say, if somebody's on the autism spectrum, the way that you speak with them may need to be more direct because inferences are not caught as easily. Or the way you speak with a parent or an authority figure that doesn't include as many challenges because that is what is not considered your place or whatever. Every person you speak to, there is a different way that you will operate around them, and it's ever so slightly, but you'll notice it if you try. People who would otherwise be your enemy if you did not speak with them the right way the first time, there's a tactic for that too. I'm just imagining Search uses a booba to hold his phone now. Jesus Christ. There's a sweet thank you. I'll be sure to bookmark it when I have some liquid funds to throw around. Thank you very much to our system. I appreciate that. I do. Last con I went to was MFF in 2016. Area had so much artwork. Is that a mic on your chest, or are you entertaining guests? Oh my god.
So,
Okay. I'm not out of my whole family is gender fluid. I already came out as pan, and that's still hard to swallow for a lot of them. I haven't come out to my entire family as poly. But, you know, there are some situations that have happened somewhat-ish recently that might make that more of a thing that I have to bring up to some of them. Maybe. We'll see. Oh, dear. Yeah, oh, dear. We'll see. We'll see. I gotta be like, it sucks because there are species that I literally cannot exist because of these people. Or there are spaces where I literally can't exist because these people purpose before healing's just sour. Yeah, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable to have to curb the person you are in order to achieve a certain goal. Suris is good at reading. Let's see here. I found you during your PNG Tube era, I think from you being mentioned by Jimmy Snow. It's been a long time. Fair. Wasn't there a book called The Games People Play that talked about how people treat others differently? But it's like decades old now. The information could still be the same, though. People don't change that much. Ray says, "Okay, I'm now being screamed at to hop in a game and stream. Great stream, Suris. Very good choice of topics. I hope it reaches people, and hopefully they try to enact some better strategies with people. We will see." If you have to use kids left in the situation, you probably shouldn't have that conversation. The trust isn't there. I disagree. Sometimes the trust has to be built up over time, and you use kids gloves in the situation because there's a particular end that you are trying to reach that is more harmful than another alternative. Sarah the Sarah says, "I thought I was too weird." You're not too weird. Sometimes we have to use language that people will accept more in order to get them to understand our side of a conversation. I do have one other topic I want to get into before we close things out, though, today. I don't want today's stream to be super long because I've got other stuff that I do want to do. But we got to talk about Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peepee. Peepee Jordo. I just need to get up to where we are in the fan art section because my thing keeps on resetting me. Don't want to be streaming at the 3 a.m. hours. Basically, I'm normally okay with streaming at the 3 a.m. hours, but I want to take some time for me. I want to take a little bit of time for me. Cool, made it just in time for a topic. Hello, Junie. How are you? My mom's Native American, but because of my dad brainwashing her, she doesn't accept the two spirit as part of her culture. Ah. Been better, but hopefully everyone else is good. Are you sure you're all right, Giuni? Do you need anything? Can I help? Where are you? It's almost 10 p.m. here. It's almost 11 here. Out. There goes my back. And my other back. What's university to do? It sucks. Dude's a bad influence. Can't spell properly. So that may help you with family members sometimes. Just reading. I returned. Hello, Nico Nerd. Is this going to be about how he said that a sign saying to take one paper towel was a totalitarian conspiracy? No, this is actually going to be an older Jordan Peterson moment that's going to be about the conversation about men's issues that we were having before. It's going to be the same conversation again, but through a different lens. So if all of you were exhausted from the conversation before, this is going to be that, but in a smaller amount of time. The 5 here got so chill. Why Jordan pee-pee? Hate to say that I was a Christian, homophobic, racist until my daughter came out to me and I learned a lot from them. Yep. So wasn't it shocking that Jeffree Star mocked non-binary people? No, Jeffree Star's been picking fights with people ever since years. Controversy is that person's lifeblood. Good thing I only showed up partway through that and didn't understand what was going on. Did you see the Jordan Peterson tweet about walking like a penguin? No. What? So the theme of the stream is about men and how we could be better to allow them to leftist spaces by talking about their issues. Basically. That's exactly what we're doing today. He was taking a post about how to walk safely on ice out of context. Oh. Hold on. I gotta let Growly in here real quick. I closed the door because of a... The penguins are more dignified than Mr. Peepee. Yay. Nico Nerd says, this is a poopy week for me. Why is it a poopy week for you? Are you alright? I really hate how people like Matt Walsh are still allowed a platform. Yeah, but at Matt Walsh's... What? Oh, they must have opened the door. Guys, I'll be right back. Alrighty. I am back. Sorry about that. Had to disappear for just a little bit. Tell us, Suris, what does the son of many Peters, your Dan, have to say? I don't know. All good. Okay, so basically what happened is Growlithe and Chip managed to open the front door, and we needed to make sure that we knew where all the cats were, because the cats, well, I mean, they might try to get out. But all of them are good. All the cats are here. You give me joy, sir. Your answer sobering. Thank you for your work on social media. Well, thank you. Had a lot of experiences with that. Yep. Well, and there's coyotes out here, which makes me fearful about whether or not the cats should try to go outside at all. I'd love to run out whenever they get the chance. A lot of watching your feet around the house. Coyotes can be worrying. Yup, they can be. They can be. Hey, at least there's no mountain lions. As a dog walker, all cats crossing my path spells bad luck. When do we get a singing redeem? I want to make you sing Sadie's song from Steven Universe. Eventually, maybe let me practice more with my teacher. Gonna mine like a dwarf while you talk about Jordy Pedantkinson. Let's see here. Nighttime goalie matches against a sorry for the delayed response. I wanted to make sure I was right about how wonderful they are. I apologize about acting random. I've had alcohol today. You're fine. You're fine. You are A-okay. So I wish I had some. Alcohol seems like a tempting option right now. Not for me. So I'm watching John Oliver and James O'Keefe is gone. That made Benjamin B. Candace Steve abandoned offended. alcohol. I'm at a very high risk of alcohol addiction. That's understandable, Anubian. I am too. One second here. Do. I was at risk, but I don't enjoy alcohol that much to overdo it. That's understandable. That's fair. And I think my concern is that alcohol is bitter. Don't get any real joy from another one. Sometimes is a nice holiday. Fair. Fair. LaDaniel Wolfkin says, hey, first time on the live stream. Been watching your videos for a while. I really enjoy them. Oh. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I keep stalling getting into the next topic, and I don't know why. I'm just kind of, like, existing. But I should be getting into the next topic. Caught Suris live for a little bit. And chat's having fun. It seems so. But we got to talk about Jordan Peterson here in a second. Been a while since a call for an Uprising update. You know, actually, I could actually do a call for an Uprising update in another video. I was threatened with something if I covered call for an Uprising again from somebody who, again, I thought had my best interest at heart. So that stopped me from covering him ever again. That's not the case anymore, so maybe it's a thing that I could still do. We'll see. Let's see here. There was a super chat there. Parched Pigeon, thank you for the $1.99. I love your videos. Keep it up. And trans rights. Yeah. Suris is a very good person. I don't know if I'd call myself a good person. I don't know if I would use that. I say that I may speak on good causes and talk about things that affect people in a positive way, but I'm still a content creator at the end of the day, which means my job is quite literally manipulate audience into liking me, which may or may not say something negative about who I am as a person. And so, well, it worked here. In some cases, it does. In some cases, it does. Cover explaining intersexual discrimination to folks who don't experience it much. Yeah, literally just go like, hey, buddy, I have a question. Have you ever seen a situation where a person was discriminated against because they were black? Or because they were a girl? or because they were gay? And if they say yes to any of them, then say, okay, cool. Now, what would happen if a person was discriminated against for multiple of them at the same time? Congratulations! Boom! You've completely gone over all of intersectionality in like 2 seconds. Bam! You've done it. Have fun. So you seem fairly good from my perspective, but then again, I only see 30 minutes of you at a time on average. Yeah. Sure. Does that mean you manipulated me into drawing Suris X Timer-kun? No, Stoff. No, I think you made that mistake of your own accord. I think that was a you problem through and through. I just lack the emotional stamina to keep up with social media. So you can't be manipulating people into liking you if you didn't manipulate me to do that. Sure I can. It could be selective. It can be selective. Said where? I can be selective in my friends. Nico Nerd says, can I manipulate you to like me more? I mean, like you more in what sense? Because that's a loaded statement. Does your family watch your channel? So my mom does off and on. I think my grandma tried once. And I don't think my dad does. Functionally. You manipulated me into joining your Twitch so I can get a, so I can get a, I don't know if I can pronounce that. That looks like that's, Moonspeak. Anyway. Nothing like that. Just saying as your point of view of me, I try to help with my point of view. Can I manipulate you into Nico knees? I'll break your Nico kneecaps. If that's what you need. I'm kidding. We're not actually going to do that. A glance can be manipulation. We're built to be and perform manipulation on one another. You can take that as dirty as you want. I'm confused. Never mind, I worded that weird. Those cursed words are on loan from Lovecraftian old. Is this a scene from a game? Mr. Strike Central. This is from Pokemon Snap and Mario Galaxy combined. At least, you know, the black hole is from Mario Galaxy. The landscape is from Pokemon. Let's see here. I walked back to Nico kneecaps. Let's see, my Meow meow legs? What is meow meow legs? What? I'm confused. I'm confused. Wait now, you're 3 hours ahead. You were up at 5 a.m.? Axo, what are you talking about? What? It said meow meow equals thick legs. Oh. So no one's drawn the volcano as a wife? I guess? I assume... Like, I think if it's my Nesma stuff, I can now draw Vulpix as Priestess. And Hol-chan. Oh my god. Volcano-chan, Hol-chan, ship. Oh my god. Volcanic lightning is my favorite natural phenomenon to exist. Give me a second. Hold up. Scrolling through some old messages real quick to make sure that I don't have anything else popping up. How's your animals doing, by the way? Growly is doing good. Chip's doing good. I mean, all the animals are doing good. We're still flea treating them because we live in the woods, so fleas and ticks just kind of live everywhere here. Okay. My house dog got sick with something. Ticks are bad. Eve. So it's really windy here, and it sounded like the wind opened one of my doors. Ouch. You only have 3 kneecap jokes? Only 3? Ha, man, the Mafia wouldn't like that. They need more kneecap jokes than that. So my first image I'm going to go make is Oxygen Chan. Odd question, but can you tell my wife, Joe, hello? Hello, Joe? How are you doing? I mean, that's a thing I can do. I don't know why I'm doing it, but I mean, I'm doing it. Haven't seen my puppers in a month. I miss him. Why haven't you seen your pupper in a month, Danny? Why haven't you seen Possum Chan? Oh my god. Hey, Tony, get the centrist. This guy needs a new pair of shoes. Hey, Tony, get the cement. This guy needs a new pair of shoes. Oh my god. All right, guys, it's time to talk about Jordan Peterson, but not about him freaking out about penguin walking. That is a more recent phenomenon. No, I want to talk instead about an older situation that happened with Jordan Peterson, because I recently made a video about men's issues and the ways that we tend to go about handling them, or mishandling them, rather. And the way that we speak when it comes to men's issues tends to lead a lot of people to leave left-wing progressive spaces and move into right-wing progressive right-wing anti-progressive spaces, because people are talking to them. People are speaking in a way that resonates with them. And that's a thing that we need to get better about addressing here on the left. So while I was doing some research for covering these topics, I found a specific moment between Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan that showed up a lot on the more manosphere sides of YouTube. And it's an interesting one, because the formula is always this. There's a video that will slowly go over like a handful of celebrations of what you would consider manhood, and then it will have music playing in the background that is very, very moody, very dun 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 dun, and it has a whole resonance where if somebody were to just look at the video in itself, they would immediately go, oh, this is just, speaking to me and my masculinity and all that other fun stuff. And in those, there's always a handful of clips that always show up. This clip between Jordan Peterson and Joe Rogan is one of the ones that I saw more often than not. So we're going to talk about it, talk about some of the ways in which things are said that are correct, and some of the ways in which things are said that are very incorrect, and some of the ways in which we can appropriate bad ideas that are had by good ideas that are had by bad people and shape them into something a little more positive. But before we get into any of that at all, we need to get into the fan art section. So, with that said, the very first piece of fan art we are going to be talking about today is from Sylvia Silica. And it's this one right here. Sylvia said, Sunday streams means only one thing, wholesome content. And we are all wholesome, aren't we? So we have a nun Suris in various states of garb. So apparently Sylvia Silica really wants me to have a nun outfit at some point because of this. With that said, the next piece of fan art we have is from Dyslexic Cowum. I almost read that as Cowcoom, and that was terrible. But look at the detail on this piece. Look at the detail on this piece. So I think I started this about a year ago. The Dark Magician Suris from another artist was so cute that I couldn't get it out of my head. So this is based off one of the Dark Magician Girl figures I really liked. At the time, I was entirely new to digital art, so I've used this as practice. Every time I learned something new, I came back to it until I ended up with something I liked enough to post. Poor thing has been edited and reworked to hell and back again. Now that I've finally managed to overcome my not knowing shit about computers-itis and figured out how to get on Discord, I'll work on finishing the other art to post here. I really hope this is how things are supposed to work. So, yes, Dyslexic Cowum, this is exactly how things work. You make a fan art piece, you throw it in the fan art section on Discord, and then we get to look at it and go, oh my god, look at this piece. It looks fantastic. Because it does. This piece looks great. And I'm glad that you've basically been... I like every time I hear from any artist that, like, they decided, hey, I'm going to use Suris as a canvas to learn things about art. I fucking love that. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep improving in your craft. You show a lot of good stuff already. But with that all said, guys, as always, thank you all for dropping in your fan art into the fan art section of the Discord. If you want yours to be shown, then go ahead and drop fan art into that section. We'll talk about it there. But the most important thing you can be doing right now is hitting the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. And because I'm recording this on YouTube, I can say that directly to the people on YouTube. Suck it. Oh, but also, thank you for watching the video. We're gonna get into things. We're gonna get right into things.
So because people have commented on every verse in the Bible, like to a degree that's almost unimaginable. So you can look and see all the interpretations and all the translations and get some sense of what the genuine meaning might be. And the line, the meek shall inherit the earth, meek is not a good translation, or the word has moved in the 300 years or so since it was translated. What it means is this: those who have swords and know how to use them, but keep them sheathed, will inherit the world. And that's another thing I've been telling. Yeah, no kidding. That's a lot different, man.
Difference.
That's a big difference. It's so great. And so, like, one of the things I tell young men, well, and young women as well, but the young men really need to hear this more, I think, is that you should be a monster. You know, because everyone says, well, you should be harmless, virtuous. You shouldn't do anyone any harm. You should sheath your competitive instinct. You shouldn't try to win. You know, you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too assertive. You want to take a back seat and all of that. It's like, no. Wrong. You should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
Do you know the expression, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war?
Right, exactly. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right. And so when I tell young men that, they think, well, lots of them are competitive. They're low in agreeableness, you know, because that's part of being competitive temperamentally. It's like, is there something wrong with being competitive? There's nothing wrong with it. There's something wrong with cheating. There's something wrong with being a tyrant. There's something wrong with winning unfairly. All of those things are bad, but you don't want people to win? What's the difference between trying to win and striving? You want to eradicate striving?
Well, it's the uncomfortable.
So that's the entirety of the clip that matters. And this clip shows up a lot in the toxic aspects of the manosphere more often than you'd think. When you go and look at videos and TikToks and YouTube shorts that are trying to speak to people who value masculinity and people who might even be rabidly misogynistic, this clip comes up a lot. So, why? What parts of this resonate with people? Well, one of them is what Jordan Peterson is saying here is technically correct. There has been a concerted effort to get people to be more agreeable and less competitive over the last few years. This has been one of the things we've talked about when we talk about toxic masculinity. The idea that men are too competitive, or masculinity as a concept leads people to be so competitive that they end up fighting each other. They end up competing and not cooperating. And there's a truth to that. There's a huge truth to that. We do need to be better at cooperation. But I think the thing that gets missed here from Jordan, the things that gets missed here from Jordan Peterson, because he misses a lot of shit, is that nobody is saying that men shouldn't be competitive or that people shouldn't be competitive. We still want competition. We just think that people need to be better at cooperation. But here's the thing. If you've been seeing the trend of people needing to be more cooperative and less competitive over the course of the last few years, when you hear this, you hear something that resonates with you. You hear something that speaks to you. And because that's what Jordan Peterson's a good rhetorician. You may not agree with the things he says. I don't agree with 90% of the shit he says. But he is able to effectively get people to listen to him and take him seriously. He is skilled at rhetoric, and it is important to recognize when your enemies are skilled at rhetoric, because if you accept that they're skilled at rhetoric, then you will get better at rhetoric to beat them. Recognize when people you don't like are good at a thing, and it will make you improve at the thing. That is a major point that we need to start doing. We can clown on Jordan Peterson. We can do it all the time. He's still a well-spoken person. I said, why beat them? Oh, very, very simple. Very, very simple. So when people listen to Jordan Peterson a lot, there's a tendency for them to slide down what's called the alt-right pipeline, or the alt-right rabbit hole. And that leads to them listening to more people like Andrew Tate, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh. This leads them to listening to, at the lowest echelons, it used to lead to them listening to people like Richard Spencer, who was an out-and-out Nazi, is an out-and-out Nazi. when people start on this rabbit train, or Jordan Peterson is almost always one of the first stops on the way down there. Because he hangs around in those circles, that, quote, intellectual dark web, as it were. At least that's what we used to call it a couple of years ago. Why should we, as progressive people, be trying to beat these people? Because, by and large, progressivism does not espouse the same levels of cruelty that people like Jordan Peterson will end up causing people to espouse. People like Jordan that lead into the Shapiros and the Walshes. The people who are in those spaces tend to celebrate cruelty and meanness and harming people and begin voting on policies and politicians that will harm people and constantly do so. There is value in pulling people away from those toxic spaces, and there is value in learning the rhetoric of people who are on that side of politics so we can figure out what is working for them and why it is working for them. So, let's take a statement that Jordan Peterson said that drips of toxic masculinity and some of the worst aspects of, well, again, masculinity, and let's reshape it into something better for the left. The statement was, you should be a monster and then learn how to control that monster. The essence of that statement is men are supposed to protect, quote unquote, that's what Jordan believes. And because they're supposed to protect, you can't protect anybody by being meek. You protect them by being able to be aggressive, be a monster, be able to be a defender or an assailant when the situation asks for you. There is a way to take that sentiment and use it for good, because it's technically a true statement. If you move that sentiment away from men and just keep it as a conversation about masculinity, which doesn't necessarily have to center around men, there are masculine women, there are masculine non-binary people, there are people that exude that energy regardless of gender. So how can we reshape that statement in a way that is not harmful, that does not that communicates the same idea, but communicates it in a positive way that does not lead people agreeing with Jordan? Well, when Jordan argues, when Peterson argues that you should be a monster, he is asking you to take on monstrosity as a part of your identity. I would argue instead that you should have a monster in your pocket. That is you should have it as a tool. The specific phrasing of this, I ended up getting from my friend Ocean, the monster in your pocket bit, but mine was just using it as a tool. I think monstrosity is a tool. I think the ability to tap into that aggressiveness when it is needed can be used to defend your loved ones, can be used to defend yourself, can be used to protect that which is valuable to you. Think about any time a bigot has been online and has said something untoward to you or a loved one. The version of yourself that comes out is either impotent or monstrous. It is either something that is threatening or something that is seen as pitiable. You cannot protect that loved one or that person if that thing is seen as pitiable. And you don't want an army of those people who exude that pitiability if we're all in the middle of an armed protest together and we are all relying on each other to have each other's backs. And there is always a chance of that happening because we saw that happen quite a lot during the BLM protests. You want a group of people that can have a monster in their pocket as a tool they have access to protect themselves and their fellow human being. What you don't want is for them to take that tool and make it their identity. When Jordan Peterson argues for this, he argues, make the monster part of your identity, internalize it into yourself, and then, from there, learn to control that thing. Always be on the precipice. I would argue that taking the sentiment of needing access to that monstrosity and making it a tool you have in your belt is infinitely more healthy than taking that as part of your identity. And by arguing this, we are able to take the core idea that people who are obsessed with masculinity are grabbing onto. We can take that core idea that they like, and we can repurpose it into something that is not only healthier for them to utilize, but also will allow us to speak to these people in a way that is on their level, with their language, using the same tools people like Peterson is using, but bring them over to the left instead of letting them slide down the right. And I know there's 1,000 Pokemon jokes you can make about keeping a monster in your pocket. I've been trying not to make them, but everybody in chat has been making them the whole time. But the fact of the matter is, as I've said in the other video that I did on how the left handles masculinity and the ways in which we fail, there is a reason that we see a lot of people who have the macho guys persona. There's a reason we see so many of them slide into right-wing rhetoric, and it's because people like Jordan Peterson, people like Joe Rogan, people like Matt Walsh, people like Andrew Tate, they're taking that language and they're using it to shape those people into weapons. They are using it to shape those people into an audience that serves their needs, whatever those needs may be. We, as people on the left, need to be taking that strategy and understanding how it works mechanically, and then making good from it. I see that the masculinity thing appeals to X person. Okay, cool. How do I communicate that in such a way that they feel heard over this thing that is important to them, but also I don't enable the toxic parts of masculinity, the toxicity that can cause them issues? We need to recognize that there are aspects of masculinity in culture that are not a problem. Most people can recognize that. That's a pretty obvious thing to recognize. But simply recognizing it isn't enough. Celebrating it is important. Because the right wing celebrates that shit. They celebrate that shit, and then people who are on the fence slide down that pipeline because they feel like they're important. They start feeling almost love-bombed by the right wing. Also, Ice Blossom, thank you for the follow. And then they get taken advantage of. And then they get used as weapons against us. Then they become the people that bolster the Twitter armies and the 4chan boards and, yes, even the voting booths that allow anti-progressive legislation to push forward and be more prominent. I've said it before, we've got more anti-trans bills than we have days in the United States right now, which is a really interesting thing. We've also got more mass shootings than we have days in the United States right now. We're really good at two things, hating minorities and shooting people. Those are two things we're good at in America, and we need to fix that shit. We fix that shit a lot of times with legislation, but we can't get that legislation if we can't get the numbers. We don't get the numbers if we don't convince people to be on a different side than the one they're on. So, I said it in a different video, I'll say it again. Learn what makes people slide down the alt-right pipeline. Use those techniques for good, because I guarantee you the worst people in the world are using those techniques for bad. We have a very, 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 very poor habit on the left of pretending that there's no such thing as a bad tactic, only a bad target. No, there are good and bad tactics. And targets matter just as much as anything else, but we need to get better at using better tactics. Because by using better tactics, we can get people on our side who otherwise wouldn't be. And you need those numbers, because that's how you get votes and legislation. That's how you scare politicians into changing the way that they write laws. You have to change the opinion of a country slowly over time. And you don't do that by not listening to a majority of your population. But, with that said, I wanted to go over this clip. I didn't want to go over a lot of it, but I wanted to go over the idea presented here. The idea of take this thing that someone like Jordan Peterson said that is obviously speaking to people, that is obviously resonating with people, reshape it into something positive while keeping the core idea there, and use that in your own movement so that you don't keep losing people to the movement that demonstrably causes harm. But with that said, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you haven't already. And as always, everybody, insert end of video tagline here. Spread kindness over hate. Yep. So Suris, scroll back. I had a funny pickup line I shared. I used with my husband during the summer Steam steals. You got to read. 50% sale going on here, Hubs. Yeah, 50% off the booty here if you're up for it. Oh my god. Fucking hell. Fucking hell. You even hated me for crying, thinking an adult woman shouldn't cry. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Well, if you need to talk about it, Nico Nerd, my DMs are open on Discord and Twitter. If it's a thing that you need to vent about. Okay? Would sheath your sword be the penis equivalent of calm your tits? Yes, it would. Sheath your sword! Stick your dick in calm. Did I forget your Discord tag, Suris? It's Suris hashtag 1413, I think. Right? Maybe? Possibly. I don't know. You can also just send me a message on Twitter. Like, that'll work too. Babe, please sheath your sword and come back to bed. That's where you just go, hey, babe, could you sheath your sword and come back to bed, but, like, sheath your sword in me? Is that what you end up doing? So now we can all DM you? I wouldn't, though. I mean, my DMs are open. Like, it's pretty public knowledge that my DMs are open. Hey, don't be dumb in DMs. Calm your sword, sheath your tits. That said, guys. That said, it is almost midnight. Were this on Twitch, I might stay up a little longer, do some video games and stuff like that, but I'm also very hungry. So, it's time. It's time, guys. We are going to technically raid someone. Technically speaking. It's very hard for us to actually raid someone on YouTube. It's very hard to do. So here's what we're going to do. Hold on. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm going to click here. Hold on. Do about. Go to the official website. Dude, and then we go to the live chat. Wait, is it really showing you as not live, despite the fact that you're live right now?
Because if I
oh yeah, okay, guys, so
hold on, is she live on? Is she not live on YouTube right now? Is Demon Mama just live on? Hold on.
there is a enormous history
There we go.
of people.
There we go. Got it. Found it.
Styles, because that's how time and style works. He doesn't believe that's possible. So, like, for
Okay,
example,
here we
he
go.
wants to dress up.
Guys, we are heading here. This is Demon Mama's stream. She is also a leftist political streamer. Little more edgy than me. Little more edgy than me. But this is her... this is her link.
Was from the Victorian
Head
era.
over
It
there
has to be
and
that
let her know it's a
actually
Suris raid.
I was from the Victorian era, and I traveled forward in time at a rapid pace.
Did
and
you
was
find food? I
broadcasting
did.
from the
I know what I'm
Victorian
doing
era.
for
It's just genuine ridiculousness. Yeah, Hoot Wheels says, if I wear a Nirvana t-shirt, I would explode and leave a secret Tartarian tunnel behind.
So here, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop over here,
It's just
pop
like,
over
no,
here.
all over America, the entire capital of America is built imitating Greco-Roman styles. It's just what obvious. I don't know. Like, you go crazy sometimes trying to respond to.
Damn it! I need to actually log into Team Mama's chat. Fucking.
meaning that this could be a repurposed building or an old world structure.
But why?
Most people would look it up and you would be directed to a museum that is in control of the history of that building.
Hit
and
Hey,
you'll be given
Suris, great to see you. Hope you're doing well.
the link.
Great to see you, Suris. Hope you're doing great. Welcome to all the Suris viewers. We're having fun diving into absolutely bonkers delusional conspiracy theory.
a story. Most of the time, you'll get a few construction photos, but it's fascinating to find out how
Welcome,
poorly
everybody.
documented the construction.
Mama, you're our babysitter now. Well, welcome. Come on in and get comfy. We're having a lot of fun. We're even going to do some cooking, Mama, after this. So it's going to be very fun.
Process was during this time in the early 19th century. It's the same thing. You'll see these buildings that are already mostly
This is all they really give us. Low quality vanilla sky images with the building already done. This was done in the 1890s. They had the capability to take HD photos. Oh yeah, see, this is one of the things. Another thing that you'll notice a lot with conspiracy theories is that claims, baseless, evidenceless claims often interlock with other baseless evidenced claims. So this photo is proof that they're lying because this guy also believes that they're lying about Tartarians having HD cameras in 1890. You see, neither of them, they serve as, it's like circular. It's like a circular reasoning. Well, we know that they're lying about the pictures because we know that they're lying about the technology. And there's never any evidence provided. It just goes, oh my God, yeah, whoa, totally.
Done with scaffolding, barely any people, windows in the ground, and clear signs of photo manipulation, which that's an entire subject of its own. Also in Tampa, there's the Ponce de Leon Hotel, which was completely poured concrete, which was supposedly the first of its kind. Also, these hotels in Florida were fully stocked with electricity during a time when Florida really didn't have that much going on, or so we're told. Also,
So? They built a giant... Okay, Florida didn't have much going on, and yet they were building a giant hotel there. So maybe, could it possibly be that Florida had more going on than you expected, and the reason they were building a large hotel there was to attract tourists, and they wanted to have electricity for the tourists?
you can see the familiar Russian-style architecture. Ever wonder why it's called St. Petersburg, Florida? Well, it's
Why? Why is it called St. Petersburg, Florida?
not just Florida. You can see this in New York, San Francisco, Charleston.
All right, guys, one last call.
Many more.
Click
Many
the link,
times,
go to
old
Demon
churches
Mama's chat.
downtown have
We're
questionable-
raiding Demon Mama.
What? What? I think he forgot to make a claim there. He's forgotten to make an argument.
Trees as being built or moved several times. You can see these old world buildings everywhere, from Gilded Age mansions and government buildings to small shops downtown. Even colleges, prisons, hospitals, military bases are all structures that do not line up with the official narrative that we are told.
Conspiracy theorists have this amazing magical ability to present evidence that counteracts their narrative and claim it supports them. Any rational thinking person should be able to look at imitated styles all over the United States and go,
Basically, their
"Damn,
site works like
do
this.
you think that
You
maybe
log in via Google. You hit
Google
the live button.
by,
You
I don't know,
click on your account.
Russian,
log in via Google, and then you're there.
Orthodox, structures of the past. Maybe
That's
they
it.
were Russian Orthodox themselves, and they decided to build things in that style because they were inspired by it. And no. It certainly must be that actually the Russian Orthodox Church was also built by aliens, and the aliens flew over to America and built them there. Celery Person says, as someone who currently lives in Florida and has, or who lives in Florida,
All right,
the
guys.
PDL, the Ponce de Leon
I'm heading out.
Hotel was built around the time of Henry Flagler, a super rich guy who was trying to who was a part of the big push